Admiral Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of the EDS Valiant and watched the massive space station grow larger on the view screen. The Nexus was bigger than any structure humanity had ever built. It hung in the darkness of space like a small moon, covered in lights and docking ports. "We're really here," Dr. Lisa Henderson said beside him. She held a data pad containing information about Earth's culture, history, and scientific achievements. She had worked for 2 years preparing everything the Galactic Council might want to know about humanity. "Keep calm, Lisa," Jack said. "This is what we've waited for, since we invented faster-than-light travel. First contact with an advanced civilization." Captain Ryan Blake walked over from the pilot station. "Sir, the Nexus is requesting we dock at Port 73. It's in the lower section of the station." Jack frowned. The lower section was usually reserved for cargo ships and minor vessels. He had expected humanity's first diplomatic mission to receive better treatment. But he pushed the thought away. Maybe the Council had different customs. The Valiant docked without problems. Jack led his team of 12 people through the airlock and into the station. The corridor was empty except for a single alien waiting for them. The creature had blue skin and 4 arms. It didn't introduce itself. "Follow," the alien said in rough English. It turned and walked away quickly. The humans followed through a maze of corridors. They passed hundreds of aliens from dozens of different species. Some were tall and thin. Others were short and covered in fur. A few floated in the air without legs. None of them looked at the humans. None seemed interested at all. The alien guide led them to a small room with no windows. Inside were simple benches and nothing else. No decorations. No comfort. The walls were bare metal. "Wait here," the alien said, and left. The door closed behind it with a solid click. "This is the greeting we get?" Commander Amy Palmer said. She was Jack's tactical officer and didn't hide her anger well. "They stick us in a storage room?" "Maybe they're busy," Lisa said, but her voice was uncertain. They waited. Hours passed. Jack tried to contact the station's command center but got no response. They ate emergency rations from their packs. Some of the team tried to sleep on the hard benches. 3 days passed like this. 3 days in a cold room, with no communication. No one came to check on them. No one brought food or water. The only reason they survived was because they had brought their own supplies. On the 4th day, the door finally opened. A different alien appeared. This one was tall with golden skin and wore rich robes covered in symbols. "The Council will see you now," it said. "You have 15 minutes to present your petition." 15 minutes. Jack had prepared a 2-hour presentation. He had speeches ready, cultural gifts, and questions about joining the galactic community. Now he had 15 minutes. The team followed the alien to a massive chamber. The room was shaped like a bowl with seats rising up on all sides. Thousands of aliens sat watching them. In the center of the highest tier sat 2 figures who were clearly in charge. "Approach," one of them commanded. Jack and his team walked to the center of the floor. He felt like an insect under examination. All those eyes watching them, judging them. "I am Chancellor Vorik of the Zenthari Empire," the first leader said. He had red skin and sharp features. "I speak for the Council in matters of law and order. I am Speaker Deleth of the Archon Collective," the second one said. This alien glowed with a soft light and had no mouth that Jack could see. Its voice came from the air itself. "I speak for the Council in matters of culture and civilization. We are honored to meet you," Jack began. "Humanity comes in peace and friendship. We seek to join the galactic community and share our knowledge and culture with all species." "Silence," Chancellor Vorik said. "We have reviewed your species. We have studied your history and your technology. We find both lacking." Jack felt anger rise in his chest but kept his face calm. "Perhaps if you gave us a chance to explain." "Your technology is primitive," Vorik continued. "Your ships are crude. Your weapons are simple. Your science is barely worthy of the name. You have invented nothing new. You merely copy what others discovered thousands of years ago." Speaker Deleth's voice filled the chamber. Your culture is violent and chaotic. Your history is nothing but war after war. You fight among yourselves like animals. You destroy your own planet for profit. You are a warrior species with no control and no wisdom. Lisa stepped forward. Our conflicts have taught us valuable lessons. We've learned cooperation, diplomacy, and peace. In the last century, enough, Vorik said. We do not care about your excuses. The Council has made its decision. Humanity will be granted provisional status as a tributary species. Tributary? Jack said. What does that mean? It means you will remain in your home system, Deleth explained. You will not build military vessels. You will not expand to other systems. You will pay an annual tribute of resources to the Council, raw materials, rare elements, and manufactured goods as we require. And in return? Jack asked, though he already knew he wouldn't like the answer. In return, we allow you to exist, Vorik said. His voice carried no emotion at all. We do not destroy you for violating galactic space with your presence. We do not claim your world for a more deserving species. We permit you to continue your primitive existence under our wise guidance. We refuse, Jack said. The words came out before he could stop them. The entire chamber went silent. Thousands of aliens stared at him in shock. Apparently, no species had ever refused the Council before. Chancellor Vorik leaned forward. You refuse? You dare to refuse the judgment of the Galactic Council? The council that has maintained peace and order for 10,000 years? We came here as equals, Jack said. His voice was steady now. We came to share and learn. We didn't come to bow and serve. If the council cannot see humanity as equal partners, then we have nothing more to discuss. Your arrogance is astounding, Speaker Deleth said. You are children playing with toys you don't understand. You should be grateful we allow your species to exist at all. Your planet has resources we could use. Your system has strategic value. The only reason we don't simply take what we want is our mercy. Then I guess we should thank you for your mercy, Jack said. The sarcasm in his voice was clear. We'll be leaving now. You have 20 days to accept our terms, Vorik said. If you refuse, we will assume you are hostile to the Council. We will treat you as we treat all hostile species. We will remove the threat you represent. President Helen Carter stood at the head of the conference table and looked at the faces around her. Every nation's leader was present, either in person or by video link. The room was silent as the recording from the Nexus played on the main screen. They watched Chancellor Vorik insult humanity. They heard Speaker Deleth threaten Earth. When the recording ended, the silence continued for a long moment. So, the Chinese premier said finally, they want us to be slaves. That's the simple version. Yes, Helen said. They want our resources, our labor, and our obedience. They offer nothing in return, except the privilege of continued existence. Unacceptable, the Russian president said. Others around the table nodded in agreement. General Marcus Cole stood up. He was the chairman of Earth's Joint Military Command, a man who had spent 40 years in uniform. Madam President, we need to discuss our options, and we need to do it quickly. We have 20 days before the Council expects our answer. What are our options, General? Helen asked, though she already knew. 2 choices, Marcus said. We accept their terms and become a tributary species. Or, we refuse and prepare for war. War against a civilization that's been around for 10,000 years, the European Union president said. A civilization with 47 member species and technology beyond our understanding. That's not war, that's suicide. Maybe not, a new voice said. Commander Kate Sullivan entered the room and saluted. Sorry I'm late, Madam President. I was reviewing the data we collected at the Nexus. And, Helen asked, Kate activated a holographic display. Images of alien ships appeared in the air above the table. The Council's technology is advanced, but not as much as they want us to believe. Their ships are big and impressive, their weapons are powerful, but their designs are old. Some of them are thousands of years old, with only minor updates. Why would they use outdated technology? Someone asked. Because they haven't fought a real war in millennia, Kate explained. The Council maintains peace through treaties and tradition. Their military exists mostly for show. They haven't needed to innovate or improve because they haven't had any threats. Dr. Paul Griffin stepped forward. He ran Earth's Advanced Weapons Research Division. I've reviewed Commander Sullivan's scans. She's right. Their weapons are based on particle beams and plasma cannons, very effective against shields designed to stop those weapons. But we don't use those weapons. We use kinetic projectiles, missiles, and nuclear devices. Their shields aren't designed to stop physical objects moving at high speed. Are you saying we could actually fight them? Helen asked. I'm saying we have a chance, Paul said. Our ships are smaller and faster. Our weapons are different from anything they've seen. Our tactics are built on actual combat experience. When was the last time the Council fought a real battle? Never, Kate said. At least not in recorded history. The Council species evolved past warfare before they formed their alliance. They see combat as primitive and beneath them. Marcus smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. So they've forgotten how to fight. Meanwhile, humanity has been at war for our entire existence. We've fought with sticks and stones. We've fought with swords and guns. We've fought in trenches and in space. Every weapon we've ever invented was designed to kill efficiently. They think that makes us primitive, Helen said. Let them think that, Marcus replied. It gives us an advantage. The room fell silent again as everyone considered the implications. Finally, Helen spoke. If we choose to fight, what are our chances? Unknown, Marcus admitted. But better than if we surrender. If we become their tributaries, we lose everything. Our freedom, our future, our dignity. If we fight, we might lose. But at least we lose as free people defending our home. I need more than that, General, Helen said. Kate brought up new images. We've been monitoring Council communications since the meeting. They're not taking us seriously. Chancellor Vorik is already planning how to divide up Earth's resources. They're sending a punishment fleet to intimidate us. Just 200 ships to demonstrate their power and force our surrender. 200 ships? The Japanese Prime Minister said. And how many do we have? 412 combat-capable vessels, Marcus said. With another 100 under construction. But our ships are smaller than theirs. Numbers aren't everything, Paul said. We have advantages they don't expect. Our ships can accelerate faster. Our weapons can strike from longer range. And most importantly, our crews actually train for combat. We run war games constantly. We drill our people on damage control and emergency procedures. The Council crews have never even practiced for battle. Helen walked to the window and looked out at the city below. Millions of people going about their lives, unaware that their future hung in the balance. She thought about her children, her grandchildren. What kind of world would they inherit? She turned back to the room. We're not going to be slaves. If the Council wants Earth, they'll have to take it by force. And we're going to make them pay for every inch. The vote was unanimous. Earth would refuse the Council's terms. The next 20 days were the busiest in human history. Every shipyard worked around the clock building new vessels. Mining operations in the asteroid belt doubled, then tripled their output. Factories converted to military production. Admiral Jack Morrison was promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Forces. His first act was to reorganize the military into 3 fleets. The first fleet would defend Earth itself. The second fleet would engage enemy forces away from home. The third fleet would operate in reserve, ready to reinforce wherever needed. General Cole mobilized every available soldier and began training programs for combat in space. Marines practiced boarding actions. Pilots drilled in fighter combat. Engineers learned to repair battle damage while under fire. Dr. Griffin's team worked on new weapons. They took human technology and pushed it to the limit. Railguns that could punch through any shield. Missiles that could track targets across millions of miles. Nuclear devices designed to crack open the largest ships. Commander Sullivan established a network of monitoring stations in deep space. These hidden bases watched Council territory and tracked fleet movements. She also set up supply depots in unclaimed systems, secret locations where human ships could refuel and rearm. On day 19, Earth sent its response to the Galactic Council. The message was simple and direct. Terms rejected. Earth claims sovereignty over all human-inhabited systems. Any Council vessels entering these systems will be considered hostile and will be engaged with lethal force. This is our only warning. At the Nexus, Chancellor Vorik read the message and laughed. Speaker Deleth found it amusing as well. The idea that humans could threaten the mighty Galactic Council was absurd. They were primitive children playing at war. "Assemble the punishment fleet," Vorik ordered. "We will teach these humans the price of defiance. Destroy their orbital stations. Cripple their infrastructure. Show them the power of the Council. When they beg for mercy, we will accept their surrender and triple the tribute they owe." Admiral Krell of the Zenthari Navy was given command of the punishment fleet. He had served for 300 years and wore more medals than could fit on his chest. He had never fought in actual combat, but he had studied the ancient wars in history books. He was confident this would be an easy victory. 200 Council ships gathered and began the journey to Earth. They traveled slowly, in perfect formation, broadcasting their approach on all frequencies. This wasn't a military operation. This was a show of power designed to terrify the humans into submission. Admiral Krell sat in his command chair aboard the Zenthari battlecruiser Dominant and smiled. The human system appeared on his view screen, small and unremarkable. No defense fleet was visible. No warning was broadcast. The humans were hiding, probably hoping the Council would show mercy. "All ships, weapons ready," Krell ordered. "Target their orbital stations first. Destroy their industrial capacity. Leave their planet intact, but make sure they understand our power." "Sir," his tactical officer said. "I'm not detecting any human vessels. Scans show their shipyards are empty." "They fled," Krell said with satisfaction. As expected, primitives always run when faced with true power. His communication officer looked up with concern. "Sir, I'm picking up strange readings. Multiple contacts appearing on sensors. They're all around us." "What?" Krell stood up and stared at the tactical display. Red icons were appearing everywhere, dozens of them, then hundreds. They formed a complete sphere around his fleet. "Battle stations," Krell shouted. "How did they get so close without detection?" The answer was simple, but Krell would never know it. Human ships had been floating in space with all systems powered down except life support. They generated no heat signature, no energy readings, nothing for Council sensors to detect. They had waited like hunters in ambush. Admiral Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of the EDS Valiant and watched the Council fleet realize their mistake. The alien ships were trying to change formation, but they moved too slowly. "All ships, open fire," Jack ordered. The darkness of space lit up with violence. 300 human warships unleashed everything they had. Railgun rounds accelerated to a fraction of light speed. Missiles streaked toward their targets. Nuclear warheads detonated in brilliant flashes. The Council's shields stopped energy weapons easily. But they weren't designed to stop solid matter moving at incredible velocity. Railgun slugs punched through shields like they weren't even there. The rounds tore through alien hulls, ripping ships apart from the inside. Fleet Commander Danny Rogers led the Second Fleet in a coordinated strike against the Council's command ships. His vessels had been positioned specifically to target the enemy's communication and control systems. 30 ships concentrated their fire on 6 Council cruisers that coordinated the fleet's movements. "Direct hit on target Alpha," his tactical officer reported. "Their command ship is breaking apart." "Continue firing," Danny ordered. "Don't give them time to recover." Lieutenant Carla Martinez piloted her fighter through the chaos of battle. She led a squadron of 24 small craft, each one fast and agile. The Council had nothing like them. Their doctrine didn't include small attack craft. They relied on big ships with big guns. "Eagle Squadron, follow my lead," Carla said over the radio. "We're going after the big one." The Dominant loomed ahead, massive and powerful. Its weapons tracked the human fighters but couldn't lock on. The small craft moved too fast, changed direction too quickly. Council targeting systems were designed for large vessels moving in predictable patterns. Carla's fighter dove under the Dominant's main hull. She fired a full spread of armor-piercing missiles directly into the ship's engine section. The missiles penetrated the hull and detonated inside. Secondary explosions rippled across the battlecruiser's stern. "Engines are down," her wingman shouted. "The big ship is dead in space." On the bridge of the Dominant, Admiral Krell grabbed his command chair as the ship shook from multiple impacts. Alarms screamed. His crew shouted reports of damage from every section. "Return fire," Krell ordered. "All ships, break formation and engage." But breaking formation only made things worse. The tight formation had been their best defense. Spread out, each Council ship became an isolated target. Human vessels swarmed them like predators taking down prey. The battle that Krell expected to last minutes stretched into hours. His fleet of 200 ships faced relentless assault from every direction. Human tactics were unlike anything in Council military history. They didn't form battle lines and exchange fire. They struck from unexpected angles, concentrated overwhelming force on single targets, then moved to the next before the enemy could respond. Dr. Nina Wright sat in Earth's command center and watched her tactical predictions play out exactly as calculated. She had studied every piece of data from the Nexus, analyzed Council military doctrine, and created algorithms to predict their every move. Council fleet is attempting to form a defensive sphere, she reported to Admiral Morrison over the communication link. They'll try to put their weakest ships in the center and strongest on the outside. Understood, Jack replied. All units, target their strongest ships first. Break their defensive formation before they can establish it. The human fleet shifted focus. Heavy cruisers concentrated fire on Council battleships. The logic was simple. Destroy the strong ships quickly, and the weak ones would fall easily. It was the opposite of what Council doctrine taught, which made it unpredictable and effective. One by one, Council ships died. Their weapons were powerful but couldn't track fast-moving human vessels. Their shields were strong but useless against kinetic weapons. Their crews were trained but had never experienced real combat. Human crews, by contrast, had drilled for this exact situation hundreds of times. When a ship took damage, repair teams were already moving to fix it. When weapons overheated, crews knew exactly how to keep them firing. When sensors were jammed, backup systems activated automatically. Admiral Kevin Harris commanded Earth's defensive fleet from high orbit. His ships hadn't fired a shot yet. They hung back, ready to protect the planet if any Council ships broke through. But none did. "This isn't a battle," his tactical officer said. "It's a slaughter." Kevin nodded grimly. "They thought we were primitive. They thought we'd be easy to beat. Now they're learning what happens when you underestimate an enemy." After 4 hours of continuous combat, the Council fleet was broken. Of 200 ships, 147 were destroyed completely. 38 were crippled and drifting. Only 15 retained any ability to fight, and those were trying desperately to escape. "Let them go," Jack ordered. "Track their course but don't pursue. I want survivors to report what happened here." The 5 fastest Council ships managed to jump to faster than light speed. They fled back toward Council space, carrying news of the disaster. The remaining ships either surrendered or were destroyed when they refused. Lieutenant Martinez and her squadron approached the Dominant. The massive battlecruiser was powerless, its weapons offline, its shields down. It hung in space like a dead whale. "This is the human fighter wing to the Zenthari battlecruiser," Carla broadcast on all frequencies. "Your ship is disabled. Power down all systems and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy you." There was a long silence. Then Admiral Krell's voice came over the radio, broken and defeated. "We surrender. Please, no more killing." Human Marines boarded the Dominant and took control of the ship. They found Admiral Krell on his bridge, surrounded by dead and wounded crew. The mighty Council officer who had never seen combat looked small and scared. Jack Morrison reviewed the battle reports with satisfaction. Human casualties were minimal. 8 ships damaged, 2 destroyed, 93 personnel killed. Against the Council's massive losses, it was an overwhelming victory. But he knew this was just the beginning. The Council had sent a punishment fleet, and humanity had destroyed it. Now they would send everything they had. Broadcast the battle footage on all channels, Jack ordered. Every species in the galaxy needs to see what happened here. The Council says, we're primitive. Let's show them what primitives can do when you threaten their home. The footage spread across the galaxy faster than light. Species that had bowed to the Council for thousands of years watched in amazement as humans fought back. Planets that paid tribute saw that resistance was possible. Governments that feared Council power realized the mighty alliance wasn't invincible. Dr. Claire Bennett stood in the captured Council battlecruiser and ran her hands over the alien technology. The Dominant was the largest prize humanity had ever taken. Every system, every database, every piece of equipment was being studied and analyzed. This is incredible, she said to her team. Their technology is advanced, but it's not magic. We can understand it. We can use it. And more importantly, we can find its weaknesses. What have you learned? Admiral Morrison asked as he entered the research bay. Claire pulled up a holographic star map. This is the Council's territory. 47 member species spread across 200 systems. The Dominant's database has information on all of them. Military installations, supply depots, manufacturing centers, even population distributions. So we know where to hit them, Jack said. Better than that, Claire continued. We know which systems are lightly defended. The Council never expected an attack on their own territory. Most of their planets have minimal defense forces. They rely on treaties and the Council's reputation to keep them safe. Not anymore, Jack said. He studied the map carefully. If we wait for their fleet to reach Earth, we fight on the defensive. But if we take the war to them, we force them to defend their own territory. General Marcus Cole joined them in the research bay. I have 3 Marine battalions ready for deployment. Give us targets, and we'll hit them hard. We need to be smart about this, Jack said. We can't conquer the Council. They have too many ships and too many worlds. But we can disrupt their operations, destroy their military production, and make them fear us. Claire highlighted several systems on the map. These locations are major manufacturing centers. They produce ship components, weapons, and supplies for the Council military. If we destroy these facilities, we cripple their ability to replace losses. How heavily defended are they? Marcus asked. Minimal garrison forces, Claire said. Maybe 10 to 20 ships at each location. The Council never imagined anyone would attack their industrial worlds. Jack made his decision. We'll divide our forces. Fleet Commander Rogers will take the 2nd Fleet on raids against these industrial targets. General Cole will lead marine strikes against military installations. Captain Turner will run interference operations to disrupt their supply lines. What about their Grand Armada? Marcus asked. Intelligence says they're assembling over 1,000 ships. Let them assemble, Jack said. While they're gathering their forces and planning their grand assault on Earth, we'll be burning their infrastructure to the ground. By the time they reach our system, they'll be low on supplies, morale will be broken, and their alliance will be fracturing. Colonel Jake Morrison, Admiral Morrison's son, led the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force aboard the captured Zenthari ship. The Dominant had been repaired and recommissioned as a human vessel. More importantly, it still had its Council transponder codes. Remember the plan, Jake told his Marines. We jump into the system broadcasting friendly codes. They think we're one of their ships. We dock at the military station, deploy Marines, destroy the target, and get out before reinforcements arrive. How long do we have, sir? A sergeant asked. 20 minutes from insertion to extraction, Jake said. Any longer and we risk getting caught. The Dominant jumped into the Archon home system and headed directly for their primary orbital military platform. The station controlled defensive operations for the entire system. Destroying it would leave the Archon homeworld vulnerable. This is Battle Station Archon Prime, a voice said over the radio. Identify yourself. Dominant. This is the Dominant, Jake replied in perfect Zenthari language. The Council translator technology made communication easy. We're here for scheduled resupply and crew rotation. Acknowledged. Proceed to docking port 7. It was almost too easy. The Dominant docked with the station without any problems. Airlock doors opened, and 200 human Marines poured into the station like a flood. The Archon guards barely had time to react. They were ceremonial troops, trained for parades, not combat. Human Marines were veterans, trained for war. The fight was over in minutes. Jake's team planted charges on every critical system: power generators, weapons control, shield emitters, communication arrays. When they detonated, the entire station would be reduced to debris. All teams, report, Jake ordered. Charges set on levels 1 through 5, came the reply. Charges set on levels 6 through 10. Engineering section rigged to blow. Excellent, Jake said. Everyone back to the ship, we're leaving. The Marines withdrew as quickly as they had arrived. The Dominant undocked and accelerated away from the station. When they were clear, Jake triggered the detonation. The explosion was visible from the planet's surface. Archon Prime, the mighty military station that had orbited their homeworld for 500 years, disintegrated in a ball of fire. Captain Alex Turner commanded a small flotilla of 6 ships that operated independently. His specialty was ambush tactics and hit-and-run attacks. He had studied ancient submarine warfare and adapted it for space combat. Council supply convoy detected, his tactical officer reported. 12 cargo ships with 4 escort vessels. Perfect, Alex said. Move into the asteroid field and power down. We'll wait for them to pass. His ships drifted into a dense cluster of rocks and shut down everything except life support. They became invisible. Just more debris in the field. The Council convoy approached, completely unaware. They're entering weapons range, the tactical officer said quietly. Fire, Alex ordered. His ships powered up instantly and unleashed a devastating barrage. Missiles streaked from the asteroid field and slammed into the cargo vessels. Within seconds, all 12 ships were crippled or destroyed. The escort vessels tried to respond but couldn't locate the attackers in the dense asteroid field. Jump to the next waypoint, Alex said. Let's hit another convoy before they figure out what's happening. Commander Sarah Mills operated from Earth's intelligence center. Her job was psychological warfare. She didn't fire weapons or command ships. She attacked the Council's unity and morale. Broadcast ready, her communications specialist said. Sarah activated the transmission. It would be broadcast on every Council communication channel simultaneously. Blocking it was impossible. People of the Galactic Council, Sarah said. Her voice was calm and reasonable. This war was not started by humanity. We came to your leaders in peace. We sought friendship and cooperation. Your council insulted us, threatened us, and demanded we become slaves. When we refused, they sent warships to destroy Earth. Images of the first battle played on screens across Council space. Footage of human ships defending their home. Footage of Council ships burning. We do not wish to fight you, Sarah continued. We do not hate your people. But we will defend our freedom. We will not bow to tyrants. We will not accept slavery. If your leaders continue this war, we will bring the fight to every Council world. Your stations will burn. Your fleets will die. Your planets will see what war truly means. She paused for effect. But it doesn't have to be this way. Any species that withdraws from this conflict will have peace with humanity. We will not attack you. We will not seek revenge. We offer trade, cooperation, and friendship to all who want it. The choice is yours. The broadcast ended. Across Council space, billions of people watched and wondered. Why were they fighting humanity? What had Earth done to deserve destruction? Their leaders said humans were violent primitives. But the footage showed humans fighting only in defense of their home. 3 days after Sarah's broadcast, the Kalari species contacted Earth directly. They were a peaceful people who had been pressured into joining the war effort. Their representative spoke carefully. Humanity, The Kalari withdraw from this conflict. We will not send ships against Earth. We wish only peace. Peace is granted, President Carter replied. The Kalari are welcome to trade with humanity whenever they wish. 2 days later, the Vorlian Confederacy also withdrew. Then, the Trell Unity. 3 council species pulled their forces from the Grand Armada, reducing its size by nearly 200 ships. Chancellor Vorik was furious. This is treason. Those species swore oaths to the council. They are frightened, Speaker Deleth said. The humans fight like nothing we have ever seen. They attack our worlds directly. They destroy our infrastructure. They turn our own people against us. Then we must strike back harder, Vorik said. The Armada is still powerful. Over 800 ships remain. We will crush Earth and make such an example that no species will ever dare defy us again. But even as Vorik spoke, human raiders hit another industrial complex. Colonel Morrison's Marines destroyed a major shipyard. Captain Turner's ships ambushed yet another supply convoy. The Council's military infrastructure was being systematically dismantled. Admiral Jack Morrison reviewed the latest reports with satisfaction. We've destroyed 15 major installations, captured or killed 3 Council admirals, and forced 3 species to withdraw from the war. Not bad for 3 weeks of work. End quote. The Council Armada is still forming, General Cole warned. They're getting ready to move against Earth. Over 800 ships, Jack. That's twice what they sent the first time. I know, Jack said. But look at them. They're disorganized. They're scared. Half their supplies are gone, because we keep destroying the convoys. They've been gathering for weeks, and they're not even ready to move yet. When they do move, they'll come here, Cole said. Yes, they will, Jack agreed. And we'll be ready. Earth's defenses are stronger than ever. We have new weapons, new ships, and the home field advantage. Most importantly, we have the Council Armada emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 600 warships representing dozens of species, all united in their purpose to destroy humanity. They expected to find a desperate world preparing for its final stand. Instead, they found Admiral Christine Palmer's home fleet waiting in perfect formation. 500 human warships arranged in defensive positions around Earth and the Moon. Every ship was at full combat readiness. Every weapon was armed and ready to fire. This is Admiral Palmer of the Earth Defense Forces. Christine broadcast on all frequencies. You have entered human territory with hostile intent. You have one chance to withdraw. Turn your ships around and leave. This is your only warning. The Council's response came from their fleet commander, a Zenthari admiral named Kolvar. Surrender your planet and submit to Council authority. You cannot win this fight. Accept your fate with dignity. Then we have nothing more to discuss, Christine said. All ships, weapons free, show them what Earth is made of. The battle began with a coordinated strike from the Moon. Dr. Leonard Hayes watched from the Lunar Command Center as his weapons systems activated. He had spent months turning humanity's oldest companion into the deadliest fortress in the solar system. Mass drivers online, his weapons officer reported. Targeting solutions locked. Fire, Leonard ordered. The Moon's surface erupted with light as dozens of mass drivers fired simultaneously. Massive projectiles, each one weighing several tons, accelerated to incredible speeds. They crossed the distance to the Council fleet in seconds and struck with devastating force. Council shields flickered and died. Hulls cracked and split. Ships that had survived for centuries were destroyed in moments. The Council fleet had never faced anything like this. They were being fired on by a moon. Captain Victoria Ross commanded the EDS Retribution, the newest and most powerful ship in the human fleet. She led a spearhead attack directly into the Council's center formation. All weapons, continuous fire, Victoria ordered. Don't give them time to recover. The Retribution's railguns fired in rapid succession. Each round punched through shields and armor. Behind her, 20 more ships followed in perfect formation. They drove through the Council fleet like a knife through cloth. Admiral Kolvar watched his formation collapse and couldn't understand what was happening. His ships were bigger and more numerous. By every military doctrine he had studied, he should be winning. But doctrine had never prepared him for this kind of warfare. All ships, concentrate fire on their flagship, Kolvar ordered. If we destroy their command ship, they'll fall apart. But human ships didn't fall apart when they lost their flagship. Every captain was trained to operate independently. Every crew knew exactly what to do. When the Council focused on the retribution, other human ships exploited the opportunity and attacked from different angles. Lieutenant Carla Martinez flew her fighter through the chaos of battle once again. She had survived the first fight, and she was determined to survive this one too. Her squadron targeted Council command and control vessels, the ships that coordinated fleet movements. Eagle leader to all wings, Carla said. Multiple targets identified. Break into pairs and engage at will. Human fighters swarmed through the Council fleet. They were too small and fast for large weapons to track. They struck at vulnerable points on big ships, crippling engines and weapons systems. Council forces had no counter for them. Admiral Jack Morrison watched the battle from Earth's command center. He had wanted to be on a ship, fighting alongside his people. But President Carter had ordered him to stay on the ground. Earth needed him to coordinate the overall defense. The Council is trying to break through on the Western Quadrant, his tactical officer reported. Send the Third Fleet to reinforce that sector, Jack ordered. Don't let any ships get past our defensive line. The Third Fleet, which had been held in reserve, jumped into action. 60 fresh ships with full weapons and shields engaged the Council forces trying to reach Earth. The breakthrough attempt failed. Hours passed, and the battle continued. The Council fleet was slowly being ground down by superior tactics and weapons. Their numbers advantage meant nothing when they couldn't effectively use their ships. Sir, the Council is attempting to retreat, the tactical officer said. Jack considered ordering a full pursuit. He could destroy the entire Council fleet right here. But that would mean more killing, more death. And humanity had already proven its point. Let them withdraw, Jack ordered. Track their course but don't pursue beyond the outer planets. We've won. No need for unnecessary bloodshed. The surviving Council ships, barely 200 of them, fled from human space. They left behind 400 destroyed or crippled vessels. The greatest military fleet in galactic history had been shattered by a single species the Council had called primitive. But Jack Morrison wasn't finished. He had one more message to send. A message that would change the galaxy forever. Broadcast this on all channels, Jack said. He stood in front of a camera, wearing his uniform but with his weapons set aside. People of the galaxy, this is Admiral Jack Morrison of Earth. Today, humanity defended our home against the Galactic Council's invasion. We did not seek this war. We came to the Council in peace. We asked for friendship and cooperation. Instead, we were insulted, threatened, and attacked. Images from both battles played on screens across the galaxy. Council ships burning, human ships defending their world. The Council said we were too primitive to join the galactic community. They said we were violent savages who needed to be controlled. But who started this war? Who threatened to destroy a planet? Who sent warships to kill millions of innocent people? Not humanity. The Council did this. Jack paused and his voice became firmer. But this war is over. Humanity offers peace to all Council species. We offer trade, cooperation, and friendship. We will share our technology and our knowledge freely. We ask only for respect and the right to determine our own future. He looked directly into the camera. The old Galactic Council claimed to represent order and civilization, but they represented tyranny and oppression. They kept species in line through fear and threats. That ends now. We propose a new council. A council where all species have equal voices. Where decisions are made by consensus, not dictation. Where respect is earned through character, not age. Ambassador Peter Grant stepped forward. He had been preparing for this moment for weeks. We call for a constitutional convention to be held in neutral space. Every species, large or small, old or new, is invited to participate. Together, we will create a new galactic government based on principles of freedom, equality, and justice. The old order is dead. Let us build something better. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, reactions were mixed. Some species were outraged that humanity dared to challenge the ancient council. Others were intrigued by the idea of equal representation. Many were simply tired of the old system and ready for change. On the Nexus, Chancellor Vorik watched the broadcast with growing horror. His military forces were destroyed. His authority was challenged. His empire was crumbling. "We cannot allow this," Vorik said. "The council has governed for 10,000 years. These humans have no right to demand changes." But Speaker Deleth's glowing form had dimmed. "The humans are right, Vorik. We started this war through arrogance and pride. We insulted them when they came in peace. We threatened them when they asked for friendship. We sent armies to destroy them when they refused to become slaves. And they defeated us. Completely. Utterly. We can rebuild," Vorik insisted. "We can raise new fleets. We can—" "No," Deleth interrupted. "Look at the data. 3 species have already sent representatives to Earth. They want to participate in this constitutional convention. 5 more are considering it. Our alliance is breaking apart, Vorik. The old council is finished." Vorik slumped in his chair. Everything he had built, everything he had worked for, was being destroyed by a species that had barely learned to travel faster than light. On Earth, President Helen Carter stood on the balcony of her office and looked up at the sky. The battle was over. Humanity had won. But the real work was just beginning. "The Constitutional Convention starts in 3 months, Ambassador Grant said beside her. 42 species have already agreed to send delegates. That's more than I hoped for." End quote. "And the council?" Helen asked. 16 species from the old council are joining the convention, Grant said. Including Speaker Deleth. Chancellor Vorik has been removed from power by his own people. They're sending a new representative. Helen nodded. "Good. We need their experience and wisdom. This new galactic government has to work for everyone, not just humanity." 3 months later, the Constitutional Convention opened on a new space station built cooperatively by human and alien workers. The station was named Unity, symbolizing the new era of cooperation. Species that had never spoken to each other before sat together. Old enemies found common ground. Young civilizations learned from ancient ones. And humanity, the species the Council had called too primitive, helped guide the discussion with principles learned from centuries of struggle for freedom and democracy. The new Galactic Union was founded on principles that would have shocked the old Council. Every species had equal representation regardless of size or age. Decisions required consensus, not simple majority. Member species retained complete sovereignty over their internal affairs. Military force could only be used in defense, never aggression. Most importantly, the Union's founding document guaranteed fundamental rights to all sentient beings: freedom of thought, freedom of choice, freedom from slavery or exploitation. These were human ideas, spread across the galaxy. Admiral Jack Morrison attended the signing ceremony. He watched as representatives from 73 species added their marks to the founding document. President Carter signed for Earth, her hand steady and sure. Dr. Lisa Henderson finally got her chance to share human culture with the galaxy. Her presentation on Earth's art, music, and philosophy was watched by billions across dozens of worlds. The species the Council had dismissed as primitive savages turned out to have rich traditions and deep wisdom. Colonel Jake Morrison was promoted to general and given command of the Union's peacekeeping forces. His job was to ensure no species suffered the same threats Earth had faced. Never again would the strong bully the weak. Commander Sarah Mills established the Union's diplomatic corps, training representatives in conflict resolution and negotiation. Wars could be avoided through understanding and communication. Captain Victoria Ross commanded the Union's exploratory fleet, seeking out new species to invite into the galactic community. Every first contact was conducted with respect and dignity, nothing like the treatment Earth had received. 6 months after the war ended, Jack Morrison stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, with Dr. Henderson beside him. They looked out at the stars, where ships from dozens of species traveled freely and peacefully. "We did it," Lisa said quietly. "We changed the galaxy." "We defended ourselves," Jack corrected. "The galaxy changed itself. We just showed them another way was possible." "The council called us primitive," Lisa said. Jack smiled. "They were right. In a way. Our values are primitive. Freedom, dignity, justice. These are old ideas, basic ideas, but they're worth fighting for." The council forgot that in 10,000 years of power and comfort, they learned to value order over liberty, stability over justice. "And now the galaxy has a chance to be better," Jack said. "Not perfect. We'll still have conflicts and disagreements. But at least everyone has a voice. Everyone has rights. Everyone is respected." Far away, on a small agricultural world on the edge of council space, a young alien looked up at the stars and dreamed of traveling to Earth. The planet where people fought a war they couldn't win, and won anyway. The planet that changed everything. The Galactic Council had insulted humanity, calling them too primitive and violent for civilized space. In response, humanity had unleashed their wrath. But that wrath was not mindless destruction. It was focused, determined, and when victory came, it was tempered with mercy. The old council ruled through fear and demanded submission. The new union governed through cooperation and earned respect. And at the center of it all was a single principle that humanity had fought and died to protect. Freedom was not something to be granted by the powerful. It was a right belonging to all beings, and anyone who tried to take it away would face the wrath of those who valued it most. Earth had been insulted. Earth had fought back. And in doing so, Earth had made the galaxy a better place for everyone. Something they don't. "What's that?" "The will to win," Jack said. "Every human on Earth knows what's at stake. Every soldier, every pilot, every crew member is fighting for their home and their freedom. The council troops are fighting because their leaders ordered them to. That makes all the difference." In council space, the Armada finally began moving toward Earth. 800 ships, carrying the military might of dozens of species. It was the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history, but as they traveled, more ships dropped out. Some developed mysterious engine problems and had to turn back. Others received urgent orders to defend their home systems from human raids. A few simply deserted, their crews no longer willing to fight for a cause they didn't believe in. By the time the Armada reached human space, it had shrunk to 600 ships. Still a massive force, but not the invincible fleet Vorik had promised. And waiting for them, hidden in the darkness around Earth, was Admiral Morrison and the entire human defense force. 500 ships and the most powerful weapons platform ever built. The final battle was about to begin. At the Nexus, Chancellor Vorik watched the same footage with growing rage. His punishment fleet was destroyed. His admiral was captured. The humans had broadcast their victory for everyone to see. The Council's reputation for invincible power was shattered. "This cannot stand," Vorik said. "Assemble the full military might of the Council. Every species will contribute ships. We will gather a fleet so large that even these humans cannot stand against it. We will crush Earth and make an example of them that will last for 10,000 years. Speaker Deleth's glowing form pulsed with anger. "Agreed. We gave them a chance to join the galactic community with honor. They chose defiance. Now they will face the consequences. The Council has spoken. Humanity must be destroyed." 7 Council species pledged their full military forces to the coming war. More than 1,000 ships began gathering for the largest military operation in galactic history. The Council was going to war, and they would not stop until Earth was conquered or destroyed. Back on Earth, Admiral Morrison watched the Council fleet's progress on his tactical display. They were coming exactly as intelligence had predicted. They moved in a tight formation that looked impressive but made them vulnerable. They broadcast their position constantly, making them easy to track. They approached at a leisurely pace, giving humanity plenty of time to prepare. "They think this is a parade," Captain Ryan Blake said. He commanded the EDS Valiant again, now designated as flagship of the Second Fleet. "Let them," Jack said. "The more confident they are, the harder they'll fall. Is everything ready?" "All ships in position, sir," Ryan confirmed. "They won't know what hit them." Jack looked at the countdown timer. The Council fleet would arrive in human space in 6 hours. 6 hours until humanity faced its first true test against an alien civilization. 6 hours until the galaxy learned that underestimating humanity was a fatal mistake. "All hands, battle stations," Jack ordered. "This is it. Make every shot count. Show them what humans can do." Across Earth system, 300 warships powered up their weapons and waited. They hung in the darkness of space, silent and invisible to the approaching Council fleet. And they were ready. Jack turned and walked toward the exit. His team followed. No one spoke until they were back on the Valiant and the ship had undocked from the Nexus. "They just threatened to destroy Earth," Ryan said. His face was pale. "Yes, they did," Jack agreed. He looked at Commander Palmer. "Amy, tell me you got what we needed." Amy smiled for the first time in days. "Every scan we could make, sir. Their shields, weapons, hull composition, power systems, everything. And sir, you're going to want to see this. Their technology isn't as advanced as they claim. Not even close." Jack looked out at the stars. The Council thought humanity was primitive and weak. They thought humans would accept slavery without a fight. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "Set course for Earth," Jack ordered. "Best speed. We have a lot of work to do, and not much time to do it." The Valiant turned and jumped to faster than light speed, leaving the Nexus behind. In that station, the Galactic Council celebrated their victory over another primitive species. They had no idea they had just made the biggest mistake in their long history.